best in radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
And welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. It's Kerry, Lutz, and lawyers run amok. Being a lawyer myself, I have to admit I've never run that amok, although there's probably those of you out there who would tend to disagree. But this is a story where they've really run amok. But to talk about it, we've got Donald Mazzella with us. You're probably familiar with him. 25 years of experience in publishing, expert in small business operations. And Don, welcome back.
Glad to be back. Always enjoy your show.
Hey, well, we appreciate that. And hey, Americans with Disabilities Act, a well-intentioned law if ever there was one, because if you have a disability and you want to be mobile, you want to be able to get to the grocery store, and you want to be able to go to the movies, to a restaurant, you know, all those things. It's very well intentioned, but the law of unintended consequences kicks in as always, right?
Well, I always say the road to hell is paved by good intentions.
Yeah, and the toll booth is always manned by a Democrat, right?
I never heard that one, but that's a good one too.
Yeah, I just made that up. So, but you can quote me if you give me attribution, okay?
I'll always do that. Try not to claim anything for myself. That way I can't get in trouble.
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're like, hey, look, I'm all for lawyers making a living if they act honorably and they're really helping you address issues where you need help, where you need your rights protected, and where legitimate issues exist. And God knows there's plenty of them in society, but where lawyers actually go out and create new causes of action and, you know, basically ambulance chase and all that. But I'll let you explain what's going on here with this because it's really enough to turn your stomach.
Well, there's 2 things going on, both of which were reported very accurately by the Wall Street Journal. One is that a group of lawyers have found a very lucrative practice in getting handicapped people to find an establishment, a retail establishment primarily, that is in violation of the ADA Act, and then suing them, and sometimes winning and sometimes losing. But in either case, the retailer, whether they win or lose, has to pay both the attorney and their attorney and the plaintiff's attorney. And this has become quite a lucrative cottage industry, and many businesses are facing it. I heard of a dry cleaner who the rack in which you hang your clothes when they get it from the back and give it to you was too high. It could not be reached by a disabled person. Well, ignoring the fact that if you made it lower, the dresses would hit the floor. But they lost the case. But anyway, that's one thing that is starting to, it's been around for a while, but it's starting to really become an organized sort of attack on legitimate businesses. But the new one, that wrinkle that came up, and I think the reason I'm on the show, is that H&R Block settled with the ADA Commission and agreed to to make their website disability enabled by having everything that's written, you could hear it as well, and every picture described. And there's a new movement afoot to make that a universal requirement of all e-commerce sites. The rules are being promulgated now. They're out for comment. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a very interesting time. We did some quick calculations here at Small Business Digest and figured that in 5 years, if that were implemented amongst the e-commerce sites, you're talking about an expenditure over $1 billion in additional expenses. So, and you know that if you don't do it, you're going to have someone suing you. And interestingly enough, the way the rules read, you'd be fined for every instance. So if you had 5 instances a day, you'd be fined for 5. It's really, it's something to be, I wanted people to be aware of, because I think it's another chance for the government to transfer wealth from one group to another or to itself, because you can rest assured they're going to get their piece of it as well.
Yeah, well, trial lawyers are a favored constituency of the Democratic Party. We all know that. They're the largest contributors to the Democratic Party. And hey, you got to take care of your campaign contributors, regardless what party you're talking about, right?
Right. Well, you know my favorite expression about lawyers. It's an old Carpathian mountain tale. Do you know why a horse snickers taking a lawyer's body to the cemetery?
No, I haven't heard that one. Why?
Okay. Because death is the only thing a lawyer can't confuse or delay.
Yeah. That's great. So, what is it? Some of my best friends are lawyers, but it's really, to me, it's just another creeping regulation in this country that, God knows, I think we're over-regulated. We've become, we're trying to take the risk out of life, mm-hmm. which you can't really do. Yeah.
But people seem hell-bent on doing it, hell-bent mm-hmm. on saying somehow you can regulate everything in life. Mm-hmm. And I think they're taking spontaneity. I don't know why it comes up, but in my mind, whenever I hear regulation, I mean, we also have, in today's world, we have play dates for our children.
Yeah.
I look back at my own youth, and and I just feel, our kids can't have this or they can't do that, and our kids are protected. You can't spank your child. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway, that's off the subject. I don't mean to be, but I just feel it's just another another step towards it. And the other thing on the franchise, the ruling by the National Labor Relations Board.
Oh, yeah, sure.
That if you're a franchisee, the number of employees that you have are lumped together with all the other franchisees. So, in effect, you're now a big employer, subject to all of the big employer requirements.
Right, yes.
And that one is going to be a very, it's going to be fought out in the courts and hopefully change. But to say that I, who run a franchise with 10 people, 10 employees, must mm-hmm. now be lumped with every other franchisee and be subject to all of those conditions is just mind-boggling. But the NLRB has put this out for comment and is hell-bent on ruling on it. Naturally, like everything else, it's going to wait till after the election, but that's going to come down, and then we're going to go to court on that one.
Yeah.
Just imagine if you... Anyway.
Yeah, well, hey, we'll talk more on other issues confronting small business up next on the Financial Survival Network.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next.
Worried about the coming dollar collapse? Then you need to speak to Tom Cloud today about buying gold and silver. It's the key to protecting your wealth from a declining dollar. Call him now at 800-247-2812. Tom will help you find the exact right bullion products to keep you safe. Would you believe that Tom's been in the business for 38 years? Tom understands these markets better than just about anybody. He's seen bull markets and he's seen bear markets, and he's not worried, and you shouldn't be either. When it comes to uncertain times like these, there's only one place to turn, and that's gold and silver. And Tom's offering all FSN listeners free shipping and insurance. So call Tom now at 800-247-2812. That's 800-247-2812, or visit cloudhardassets.com and tell him Kerry sent you.
The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
And in case you just tuned us in, we're talking with Don Mazzella, publisher and nationally recognized expert and author on small business. And Don, no wonder new formations of small businesses, the lifeblood of the United States, and always has been, at least since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. No wonder they're at record lows. You got to be nuts to want to start a business in this country, because you just become a target of the government, a target of the rapacious legal industry, and a target of your employees and every other group that wants to come after you because they see dollar signs, right?
Right. And they know you don't have the deep pockets to fight them. It's cheaper to settle than to fight them. Last year was the lowest number of new business formations in 5 years. Mm-hmm. It's frightening. The number has been going down and down for the last 5 years, and people will say it's a recession, but it's not really that. It's ironic. Technology has made it very easy to start a new business. Regulation has made it more difficult to start a new business. The dry cleaning industry, which was a major business formation, is going down. Many of the traditional avenues for immigrants and for people to move up have become blocked by regulation. Interesting. We see all this talk about artisan foods, but now the government is starting to move in on small producers and saying they must have the same hygiene, health protections as large dairies, it's just becoming an extremely difficult. Do you know it is impossible in this country to start a blue cheese business because you violate all of the rules of health prevention? It's really very difficult.
Oh, well, there goes my next business idea. You just killed that one for me. I was just about to open a blue cheese, factory, Don, and that one's done now. So thanks for that.
Well, many new ideas. But the interesting thing, a carpenter, I just heard the other day, someone tried to open I won't mention the state, a carpentry shop.
Don't rat him out.
And he found out that the safety requirements in this particular state prevented him. And the only way he could start a new carpentry shop was to buy an old one.
Yeah.
Because they were
grandfathered.
Yeah. Right.
Well, John C. Dvorak, famous writer, computer magazines, PC magazine, and author, and he does a podcast with this guy, Adam Curry. They're well known, and tells a story from when he was growing up in California. Old Portuguese guy. He made linguiça, Portuguese sausage, and the Department of Health in this town kept bothering the guy and bothering him. And he was using an age-old recipe and called for fermentation or something. You know, they'd only been making it this way for hundreds of years in Portugal. And finally, the Department of Health bugged him so much, they pushed him over the edge. And I don't encourage this, don't get me wrong. And finally, they came and they pushed him one time too many, and he shot 3 of them and killed them. Now, not the right way to handle this type of situation with the government, but totally understandable that the guy just had had enough, and he probably wasn't too stable anyway. Maybe he didn't take his meds that day, but he broke, and he wound up spending life in prison, died there. But this is the type of thing that the government can do to people and just drive you over the edge. And you just, you have that Howard, the network guy moment where you just say, Howard Beale, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. Now, you shouldn't go out shooting people because you just can't do that in a civil society. But, some people just can't deal with it, and, they go postal.
That's absolutely right. And by the way, isn't that movie strangely prophetic?
Yeah.
And how television has evolved?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. It's truly unfortunate, but some of the things that we feared 20 years ago are really coming to pass. And in regulations, et cetera, that when we pass these acts that are supposed to be so benevolent, species protection acts, et cetera, it just boggles your mind. Mm-hmm. And I was invited to a college yesterday, and I talked in front of a class, having to be an English class. But what was really I brought out to them, the science fiction writers of the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s were so prophetic in the sense of where we would evolve in terms of technology. But let's hope they're not as prophetic as they were and how they felt the state would evolve into the all-seeing eye of the state. Yeah, well, they say that Orwell just had the year wrong, right?
Very much so. But if you remember the Twilight one, where the one I always remember is the Frederick Brown story, where man is walking in the street, and the police came to him and said, "Why are you walking in the street? Why aren't you home watching TV like everybody else?" And they arrested him.
Yeah.
But I'm really on this program to give a warning about this. It's little understood, little publicized, but it is a great attack upon small business, and we really should be monitoring. And libertarians do a very good job of pointing these things out, and for that we should thank the libertarians like you.
Hey, well, a lot of the times you feel like you're banging your head against the wall, but then again, sometimes the wall starts breaking. Hopefully it doesn't break and then you get a nail in your head, or the sheetrock breaks and then you start getting splinters from the 2x4 behind the sheetrock, which sometimes happens. But, you just got to keep doing it, because what choice do you have? You just keep doing it. And eventually the 2x4s break as well. And you just keep doing it and doing it, because it's all you know how to do. And, thanks for telling us about it. And The good thing is that on the web, because the internet makes it so easy to do business, outsourcing is easier than ever. And, I know so many people that have virtual assistants in the Philippines, in India, because they don't want workers' comp issues. They don't want all these other crazy liability issues that can come about. They don't want ADA issues because, you know what, my toilet is 2 inches too high, and you know what, the toilet paper roll, Don, is just not in the right place, and a handicapped person is just not going to be able to get to it. And the doorknob, that's in the wrong place too. And what are we going to do about this? And, it's a feeding frenzy for lawyers. And that's all these laws turn out to be. And, hey, it's really just a disgrace. And, but that's why the once great United States is where it is today. And unfortunately, the way democracy works, sometimes it just seems there's no proactivity. It's all reaction to crises, right?
Well, that's you're very accurate on that point. When it's really going to change is when the government sues Starbucks, because most of their bathrooms are not up to code. And then someone like that with the deep pockets fights them.
Yeah, or Walmart.
Oh,
hey, remember what happened with Walmart, where that guy got trampled to death in Long Island, and OSHA fined them $8,000, and Walmart spent millions of dollars fighting OSHA. And OSHA was so angry about it, like, how dare you fight us on this, right? How dare you fight us? And I don't know if they won. It might be going to the Supreme Court now, because I think they lost at every level, right? Yes.
That's we need someone like that to do. We'll look at in the Obamacare. It took a deep pocket the people with the
hobby lobby,
to really fight them. If I don't believe in abortion, why should I have to pay for an abortion for someone? I mean, and it's not as if people can't get it, but it's another example.
Yeah,
it's another example.
Hey, it's and that's what it comes down to. It's got nothing to do with whether you should be able to get one or not. It's just a question of who's going to pay for it.
Right.
And really, because as libertarians, your body, you own it. You figure out what you want to do with it. I don't have any right to tell you one way or the other. You figure out what you want to do, but just don't ask me to pay for what you want to do with it. That's all.
Well, look at Wisconsin, the teachers and the public employers union.
Yeah.
The minute the people could choose the political action or pain, they walked out of it.
Free choice. And free choice means I got the right to tell you that the interview's over, Don, but you have the right to tell me where to find your work and how to connect with you.
What a great
segue.
That is really great.
Okay.
Smallbusinessdigest.net. You can find me on there. Anything you want to know about small business. Love to hear from people, and always enjoy being on your program.
And we love having you on, Don. It's always a pleasure. You tell us things we don't know. We learn. That's what financialsurvivalnetwork.com is all about. If you want to learn things that don't appear in the mainstream media, go to the site. Hundreds of articles from dozens of different websites all over the place. I don't know how many of them are handicap accessible. So if you got problems there, call me and I'll read them to you personally. And that's how we'll get around that. FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Got one coming out in the next day or two, promise. And Don, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for being on.
Thank you. Have a good day.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next.
Every week the show is growing. Would you like to be a part of it? Then go to clubfsn.com and help support us with $1, $2, $5, or $10 a month and get a host of premium content with newsletters dropped into your mailbox, free books, private audio clips, webinars, and much more. Then join clubfsn.com. If you want to get ahead of the trend and ensure your family's financial security before it's too late, go to clubfsn.com and sign up.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to FinancialSurvivalNetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.